So today I just wanted to take a quick look at the 2008, I guess you could say eco horror film, The Happening. So this is one of the first films to date which does not have a cameo by M. Night Shyamalan, but he does do a bit of voice acting. So he actually plays the voice on the other end of the line, the one that keeps calling Alma. So this would obviously be Joey, but that is Shyamalan's voice right there. The screenplay was also written with Mark Wahlberg in mind. Unfortunately, Wahlberg later, I guess you could say, expressed regret at having taken the role, which is rather unfortunate because the part was specifically written for him. But I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that just seems a bit rude. This also happens to be the first R rating for M. Night Shyamalan, and it also happens to be the shortest film to date, clocking in at 91 minutes. So I know this is definitely one of those films that everyone loves to rip on, but then again, so is Lady in the Water. So it's kind of like one of those popular type issues where it's just trendy to dump on M. Night Shyamalan, and I actually enjoy his storytelling. Yes, we are pretty much just set to expect the twist ending that is his trademark, but he has basically been Rob Zombie-ized. Everyone loves just trashing his film work, but he is a person who writes his own material, he directs his own films. So, I mean, obviously he has been filmmaking since he was a child. It's something he started as a hobby when he was young. So, direction-wise, yes, they are very well-treated films. I think they are extremely effective. In my opinion, they always do well with atmosphere. A lot of the stuff can be a bit ridiculous from time to time, very easy to ridicule. But what isn't? It's called horror, you know, it's a subgenre of fantasy. You have to lend it a bit of your imagination and, you know, to some degree, mild faith in order to enjoy the film. It's not there to convince you that it's the best film in the world. There is very rarely such a thing as a perfect film. Everything is flawed to some degree. And yes, this film does have its hiccups, but I think it was very effective, especially because we don't really get too many eco-horror films in this day and age. The heyday was in the 70s, obviously, but, you know, the fact that people seem to be exhibiting this strange behavior, then they take violent turns and they either attack themselves or one another. We then come to realize it is plant biological warfare, which, you know, some of you may smirk and say, well, you know, that's ridiculous, but even plants among themselves, whenever pollinating and, you know, growing within certain areas, the plant territory, if you will, obviously if you've ever studied botany, yes, to some degree, plants do release, I don't want to say certain toxins, but they do release certain plant chemicals, and even people in our day-to-day life happen to be affected by these things. They're called allergies. So taking that ideology to an extreme, I thought was actually very clever. I had never seen that in a film, and I just thought it was awesome, the fact that essentially the earth was fighting back. They're defending themselves against humanity, basically, because humanity pretty much just takes advantage, or they take for granted their environment. They think they are entitled to just knock down trees, build up whatever. And it's kind of interesting to see nature just kind of fight back and say, hey, back off, I've had enough. And I just thought that was a very cool concept. But yes, I know some characters have their flaws. I know there are plot holes. It's definitely filled with a lot of kooky characters. You do have Alma with her odd jerky behavior. You have John Leguizamo's character who seems to have a numbers or a mathematic obsession. And how can you not forget that woman in the isolated cabin? She is extremely rigid and very paranoid. She seems more like the survivalist living in a bunker type. But, you know, to me, they definitely hold the interest, and I do find it an entertaining film. It is one that I do pick up every so often and rewatch. It doesn't just sit on my shelf and collect dust. But these are just my opinions. You know, if you have seen The Happening, I would definitely love to share thoughts and opinions with you, good or bad. But that is all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you later.